Hello, hello. Come on in. Good morning. Hey, guys. Good to see you. Check in with me. Let me know that you're here. Hello, hello. Good morning, guys. So, give me just a second. I'm letting you guys all come in and say hello. So this lighting is weird today. I may need to move this desk. It's about to drive me crazy. And I don't want any distractions today, darn it. Hey, Terry. Terry made an offer last night. Whoop, whoop. All right. Good morning, guys. Hey, hey. So come on in, say hello. Let me know you're here. Thank you. She says it's Lee because it says Facebook user for me. I'm so glad to see you. So you guys, there will be no distractions today. If that dog starts barking, I don't care. I've done all the mindset work around the dog. I'm not going to let it distract me. If I know I've planned too much content for today, we're going to keep this to 45 minutes. Hey, Jill. And hey, Kimberly. If whatever happens, we are doing this. This topic is so important to you guys. It's so important to me. It is something that we all deal with. So let's talk about it. So today we are talking about imposter syndrome. We are going to define it. We're going to look for examples. We're going to talk about ways that it shows up in our lives. And then we're going to talk about ways to combat it. And so I am going to dive right in because we need to get started on this information. First and foremost, so my imposter syndrome was telling me, hey, don't tell them the resources, like let them think that you came up with all this on your own. A lot of what we're going to talk about today comes from a podcast called The Jordan Harbinger Show, and it's a very old episode on imposter syndrome. I love The Jordan Harbinger Show. That guy is ridiculously friggin' smart. He says the most intelligent things, and he's just amazing. So Jordan Harbinger, it's the episode on imposter syndrome. It is episode number 127 if you want to go listen to that. So episode number 127, Jordan Harbinger, Harbinger. All right, so I listened to that episode a bunch of times. There is work that I've done in the past and things that we've actually done a session on this in the past. So there's other stuff that's mixed in here, but go back and listen to that because it'll reinforce your learning on a lot of what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so what is imposter syndrome? So we've had this conversation in the group that a lot of you guys are feeling it. And it was so enlightening, of course, because what you were seeing is one person said, hey, talk about imposter syndrome. And then everybody was like, oh my gosh, I have it so bad. And then you guys are going back to each other and going, wait a minute, you have it? You're amazing, right? I can't believe that you have it because I look at you as like one of the people who's like, the smartest in the group, doing the best, taking the most action, whatever. It really goes to show you that everyone deals with this. So a few months back, I took a boot camp. I like to go take other people's boot camps a lot. And I took a boot camp from, what are their names? I can't think of their names, but they do a boot camp called the Be on TV boot camp. And I thought I would pick up some PR tips from it. And the lady who hosts that boot camp, I cannot think of her name right now. Jen Gottlieb. She used to host some kind of hard rock interview show on VH1. And she talked about how every single huge rock star that would come in and do the show, she would go in and she would talk to them later in the green room and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous. Did I do okay? I mean, people like, I can't think of the names that she was giving, but, think about it. The lead singer of Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, like the big guys that are out on stage doing their thing get so nervous about doing this little interview show. Having imposter syndrome, having that nervousness, not knowing that you're doing it well or doing it right, is part of being a high performer. So if you have got imposter syndrome, it's actually a really good thing. It is a sign that you are performing at a high level. It may be a sign that you are about to get out of your comfort zone, but it means that you are performing at a high level and that you are stretching your capabilities. So I'm going to do a little drawing for you guys. Let me see. Or maybe not. No, I'm going to. I'm just playing. So this is what I came up with when I was really thinking about this and what it looks like visually. I think the visuals really help us all. So, your kind of progression of your career, your anything that we do, whether you're an instructor or whether then you become a business owner or whether you go do something else, like whatever it is, your progression is going to kind of look like this, right? And maybe sometimes there's even going to be some of that, and then you're going to start to go back up. So let's say this is you being a fitness instructor, right? And then you decide, you know what, I'm going to take the challenge because I know I can do it, and I'm going to become an entrepreneur. I'm going to become a fitness entrepreneur. I'm going to go online and I'm going to make this work, right? And then let's say this third, these do not matter as much, but let's say that third leap is then like, I'm going to make $1 million. So all of those are levels. So you've been here, right? Fitness instructor. This you were able to do because of two things: luck and skills, right? So the luck being, and you guys, I say this because it's really important in terms of just the gratitude and the understanding of, the station that we were all born into in life. Like, we all are really lucky. Every single one of us hit the genetic lottery and the location lottery and the demographic lottery. We all have had struggles. I had huge struggles in my early 20s. I, was a single mom and blah, 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 blah. We have all had struggles, but there are also really lucky things that have happened to us. And it's just important to acknowledge that, right? We are not in India foraging through what am I looking for? A garbage dump, trying to find like little rubber ringlets to recycle. And because of that, we were able to become fitness instructors because we aren't like fighting for survival every day. So that's what I mean when I say luck, right? We all started somewhere and we started from a fairly decent place, at least. All right. And then skills. So you went out, you got your certifications, you did all your stuff. Before you had those skills, you were down here, right? You were in your comfort level and it was scary to get those skills. It was scary to teach for the first time. And so then you get to here where you're in your comfort zone. So let's make this a different color. Let's make that blue. So this is your comfort zone, right? And you're teaching. Now, all of a sudden, you're asking yourself to go from fitness instructor. Oops. Someday I'll be better at this whiteboard thing, but today is not that day. So right here, this is where imposter syndrome creeps in, right? Let's make that red. Here's the good thing. This means that you are moving out of an area of your life where you are comfortable, and you're moving into a new skill set where you're about to up level and become uncomfortable. Now there's a new comfort zone up here, and that's okay, but you're not there yet. So here's where imposter syndrome creeps in, and you can see it covers part of your comfort zone, and then it covers part of that beginning of that new skill set. And you're going to be in that imposter syndrome place during both. So I bring that up and I make that drawing for you for a few reasons. And the first is that I want you to understand that it's a good sign. It means that you're moving out of your comfort zone and into a new place, right? It also is important to recognize that there are a bunch of these little elbow joints on your way to the top, and you're going to get imposter syndrome at every single one of these elbow joints. It's a sign that you're moving into a new set of skills, into an up-leveled, better set of skills. All right, so let me look at what my notes say here. So it's a psychological pattern. It's a pattern of thoughts and emotions that your lizard brain, of course, brings to you to keep you safe. It's going to be a lifelong thing. You're going to have it at multiple times in your life. I've got two definitions that I really like here. And the first is the non-acceptance of the work, accomplishments, or skill set to do the job. And I like that definition. That's like questioning whether or not your success is just luck, right? Like, did I slip in like Elle Woods going to Harvard, right? And that's actually an example we're going to walk through. But did they just need me because of diversity and I'm a woman or a person of color or whatever? Did I just slip in? And then so that was non-acceptance or internalization. So non-acceptance or non-internalization of the work or accomplishments or skill sets needed to do the job. And that's like thinking that you just slipped in and that people are going to find you out at any given moment. It's like me thinking, did people just buy into the VSBA because they liked the boot camp without realizing how much entrepreneurial know-how and skill set I had to have in order to just develop that boot camp, let alone all the things that we do in the VSBA, and I'm just sitting there thinking, well, they're going to get in the VSBA and they're not going to get any accomplishments and they're going to hate it. And then they're all going to want out, right? That would be imposter syndrome for me. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So is my success just luck? Did I just slip through the cracks? And then another definition would be, and I really like this one, so write it down if you're taking notes, feelings of fraudulence that are not tied to an accurate understanding of our own capabilities. Capabilities. This is going to be a huge word today. We're going to come back to capabilities a lot because capabilities doesn't have anything to do with certifications. Capabilities is not your education. It's what you're capable of. Maybe you've done it. Maybe you haven't. But are you capable of doing it? Right? So feelings of fraudulence that are not tied to an accurate understanding of our own capabilities. Let me know if you've got any questions on that so far. I almost did that boot camp about how to get on TV. It was good. I have to say, I met some cool people. That's where I met Alexis Perkins, and I had her on the show, and she is just adorable and amazing. But I didn't do anything with a lot of the stuff just because it's not a priority for me right now. I would like to be on more podcasts and I would like to do more speaking, but I don't necessarily need to be like on TV. Okay. So We all experience it, right? All of us, because we are good, well-intentioned, a good thing. That means that you are aware that there's growth happening and growth to be had. But what you have to do is get past it so that you can rely on your capabilities and keep going. Because if you let it stop you, then you're done. Okay, so I think we have said everything we want to say about what it is. Any questions so far? Here are the ways that it shows up in your life. So you're either going to retreat. We've talked about that a lot. That's the lizard brain saying, hey, who are you to do this? You're not good enough. You don't know enough. You haven't taken enough certifications. You don't have enough education. You haven't done it before, so you can't do it now. And so that's your lizard brain, and that will just cause you to retreat, go back in the cave, not do anything, right? We've all had that impulse. It's also that idea that your lizard brain says something like, oh, I know you're supposed to go on live today and you're really nervous about it. I don't think you're feeling well. I don't think you can do it today, right? So Terry busted through that yesterday because she didn't have all of her technology the way that she wanted it to make her offer. And she was like, I am doing this. I'm doing it because I committed to it. So I'm going to do it. So that was an awesome thing. But that's your lizard brain. It'll just make you retreat. It'll cause you to overcomplicate things. It'll cause you to just feel like you're sick and maybe you can't do it. Or you'll tell yourself, I need to give up on this. That's lizard brain. That's retreating. Another way that it shows up is that you might overcompensate by working too hard. So you actually see that with me with the Virtual Studio Business Accelerator. You see, I am here too much. I want you guys to do so well, and I want to come be up alongside you so much that I almost want to get in and do all the things for you, and I have to hold myself back sometimes because I have imposter syndrome in that you guys are my first full class that I'm leading through this. And so I have to rely on my capabilities and my good intention and my skills and know that I'm going to come alongside you and help you in every way that I can, because I don't have the testimonials and numbers saying I led this person make $1 million, right? So you see that with me with overcompensating, too much work, doing too much. And it's a real catch-22 because you've got to do the work to fill that gap between where you are and where you need to be. But at the same time, you have also got to allow yourself grace. You've got to enjoy your life. You've got to enjoy this business that you're building. So you may overcompensate, and that may be okay, but you have to find a balance. It can be too much. It can also show up in the wrong ways. So you can overcompensate by, let's say I was jumping in and doing the work for you guys, setting up the websites or whatever. Let's say that you were going in and making a custom meal plan for every single person that's in your transformation, or you were doing things for them and you're actually working against them because you're not putting the pressure on them that you need to put on them. And then you're overcompensating. You're making yourself feel better because you've got imposter syndrome, and it's actually ineffective. So it can work against you. So that's what you've got to watch out for with overcompensating. You've got to make sure that the things that you are doing are things that are moving the needle, either in your skill set or in the money side of the business. You've got to be moving the needle. Oh, Kimberly's saying, I did my first mindset type live chat yesterday. It's scary, and I felt like I wasn't qualified. Kimberly, did people love it? I bet they did. I bet they got something out of it. Even if it wasn't what you thought they would get out of it, I bet they got something out of it. I bet they got a lot out of it. Okay, so overcompensating is another way that imposter syndrome is going to show up for us, right? Creating a false self might be another way. So if I was coming on here all the time and I was like, wait, I got another one. Have you guys ever watched this guy on YouTube? He's called CoffeeZilla. And he goes out and finds people who are presenting themselves as like internet marketing gurus, or he goes after like course creators, which is kind of scary, but he'll go to their social media and he'll be like, oh, look at him stepping out of a rented Lamborghini and talking about how he made $1 million on Amazon last week and blah, blah, blah. That would be like creating a false self when you like rent a Lamborghini and then you go out and do a YouTube ad and you're trying to tell people that you can teach them how to, make $1 million. Or let's say you got a body double that has like 8-pack abs, and then you like took pictures of this person and had your face like photo imaged on there. I mean, that's an easy way to say the sense of that you're creating like a false self, but it could come on in like smaller ways too. So you create a personality that's kind of a little bit bigger than you that you use in certain circumstances. That's the guy at the office that's like constantly up the boss's butt and like kind of putting you down and bringing himself up. And he's doing that because he really doesn't have the skill set to do the job that he wants, right? The alter ego can be a useful tool. The difference is, are you making a promise that you know is within your capability set, right? Okay. I love that. Doesn't it feel good when people put a quote from you on the fridge? That's amazing. Okay, so the fourth way that imposter syndrome is going to show up for us, you guys. Now listen up. If you are multitasking, this is huge because we all do it. Comparison. So comparison can be either I should be further along, I should know more, I should, shoulding all over yourself. That can be comparison. You might see somebody else who's further along in their business or maybe knows more than you about a certain thing. Oh, that's so much better. I figured it out. Shoulding all over yourself. That's one form of comparison that can come up for us when we are dealing with imposter syndrome. And then the other is it shouldn't be this hard, right? It shouldn't. I'm having to work harder than other people. I'm having to do more. I don't have as big of a social media following, like whatever, like looking at other people and comparing yourself, or looking at yourself and then telling yourself that you don't have the right things in place or haven't done enough or that kind of thing. That's comparison. Who deals with that? That's really interesting, Robin. So Robin is saying, I try not to compare myself with others. It's really hard, but it's so true that comparison is truly the thief of my joy. And then fear missing out also. So you try not to compare yourself with others, but does that mean that you're shoulding all over yourself? Like, I should be this, I should be that? Or does that mean that you try not to compare with yourself with others, but then you do compare yourself with others? Yeah, compare. I mean, that was like almost the thief of that whole thread when you guys were all like complimenting each other and you were like, I can't believe you have it, right? You're so wonderful and you're so wonderful. And hey, you do this and you do that. And then it was almost like I could feel you guys like comparing yourselves. And I was like, oh goodness, well, this is awesome because the affirmations are really great, but also don't compare yourself to each other. You got to keep it on you. All right, let's move on. I had written this whole page about Elle Woods, but I don't think we're going to get there. And I think that's okay because we I think we all get it. I'll just say this about Elle Woods. I think the whole movie is really a study in imposter syndrome. So we're talking about Legally Blonde, right? She shows up to Harvard and, okay, first of all, she gets accepted to Harvard out of like a fluke and a diversity thing. And then she shows up and she's in her comfort zone because she doesn't really care about getting a law degree. She's there to get her man back. So first of all, she did have the qualifications to get in. So it would have been really easy for her to say, oh my gosh, I don't belong here, blah, blah, blah. She did have the qualifications to get in. She had the grades, she had, the money, like the connections, whatever. So she gets in, she's in her comfort zone. Then she really starts to care and wants to level up. That's when the imposter syndrome creeps in. That's when she wants to leave, right? That's when she feels like everybody thinks I'm a joke, which is another one that we didn't even talk about. It was when she started to care. So that's another piece of that, right? Imposter syndrome means you give a crap. And that's why sometimes you see people that should have it that don't, because they don't really care enough. And then at the end of the movie, she steps into her skill set, right? She steps into her capabilities and she levels up. And that's that upward curve on our little drawing. She levels up and then she becomes a valedictorian and she's still herself. She hasn't changed into somebody else. She's still herself. She still does her little at the end of her speech, right? As the valedictorian. So she's still like herself, but she has stepped into her capabilities. That's the thing. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about Elle Woods. It is a great movie, y'all. The second one. All right, so here is what we are going to do. So getting rid of imposter syndrome is a lifelong practice. It's not something where you're going to do some of the things that I tell you about, and then you're going to just get rid of it and you're never going to see it again. You're going to see it every time you get uncomfortable. Every time you start to stretch your skill set, you're going to see it creep in. So it's something to recognize and be aware of. All right, so we are going to talk about managing and overcoming it. Who noticed this the other day when we were having the Mutual Admiration Society and we were all loving on each other? Who noticed this? Like somebody said something nice about me, but it didn't fix the problem. Validation, unfortunately, is not going to fix the problem. It's great. It's great to recognize to somebody the qualities that you admire in them. It's great to let them know that you look up to them. And that is good for you and good for them. It's good for your relationship. But it doesn't fix the problem in you. It doesn't fix my imposter syndrome if you were to say something nice to me. Imposter syndrome, I thought, was a fear of being found out too. Yes. So that's a simplistic explanation of it. And I like, we've gone a little bit deeper than that today, but it's when you don't, I guess it's the extension of the definition that I gave. So when you have feelings of fraudulence, right? You have feelings that you're not good enough. You haven't done enough. You haven't, you don't have the qualifications that you should have, right? The shoulding all over yourselves. And then, and that those feelings, which could also be fear of being found out, they're not tied to an accurate understanding of what your capabilities are. Because the fact is, you don't have the complete skill set and the comfort zone until you have it. So you have to start somewhere. And sometimes we have to stretch into a role. So the fear of being found out is huge. But there's a difference between imposter syndrome and imposterism. And the difference is imposterism is that person who actually went out and got a body double and got the 8-pack abs and then got their face photo imaged on it and then is now trying to sell a class to get 8-pack abs. It would be like if I had lied to you about any of my past experience or qualifications as I was trying to sell you the Virtual Studio Business Accelerator, or if you trying to think of another example. It's the rented Lamborghini. That's imposterism. So being found out, yes, it's a fear, but it's irrational because it's not in line with what your actual skill set or capabilities is, because you didn't lie about anything. You got there fair and square. Maybe you've had a promotion or accomplishment or something faster than you thought you should have in your life. And now you've got to level up your skill set and you've got to do that catch-22 of overcompensating in terms of working and catching up. That's okay, but you have the capabilities to get there. Let's see. Yes. Time to ask for the money. I feel like I'm not worth as much as I'd like to ask for. And I'm not completely prepared to talk about that one. Maybe we should do an imposter syndrome around asking for the money. I think that for me, when I first look at that comment, I feel like that's imposter syndrome showing up as wanting to retreat, right? It's the lizard brain trying to pull you back into the cave. And so it's like saying all these things. So even though it's not, I'm scared of showing up live, I'm scared of asking for the amount of money that I am worth. Anything that you're doing for the first time is where imposter syndrome can show up and then try to pull you back into the cave, make you retreat. All right, so number one, I've got 4 strategies for you. No, I've got, 4 strategies for you. So number one, practice authenticity with others and with yourself. So be honest, right? Authenticity is more than being honest, though. Authenticity is being true to yourself. It's being, it's honoring not just the truth, but not that's just the truth in terms of like logistical things. So not just the truth in terms of what certifications you have or what you've done in the past, what your experience is and blah, blah, blah. But also like, what do I want to be doing, right? If you're teaching yoga because you've got a big yoga audience, but you hate yoga, it's going to show up. And one of the ways it can show up is as imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to be teaching? Let's just say you ended up with 100 yoga participants online and you hate yoga, or you're really like, not practicing any of the principles of yoga in your life past like the exercise piece. Like that imposterism is going to show up to you. If you teach a class at a certain time of day and you hate teaching at that time of day, that is going to show up. And one of the ways that it may show up is imposter syndrome. Like, I don't deserve this audience because I don't like them. When really it's just you don't like teaching at that time of day. This being practicing authenticity and with yourself and with others as a way of combating imposter syndrome because we deal with it, or realizing that we've got imposter syndrome and then starting to employ strategies to combat it. It makes being super honest with yourself about your business really important. Because if you are doing things in your business that you're just doing for the money, it's going to show up. And you have to get rid of those things in order, or get honest with yourself about those things at least, in order to get rid of that feeling that you're a fraud. I mean, y'all, it's really simple when it comes to us as fitness instructors. If we're showing up with a huge smile on our face and we're really like, oh my God, I hope nobody shows up because I don't want to teach this class right now and F everybody and whatever. I've felt like that showing up to teach a class every once in a while, right? Maybe not so much now that I'm in my house, but man, there are definitely times that you leave for the gym and you're like, God, I hope nobody shows up, right? That's not being authentic with you. And now that you own your own business, you don't have to do that. And you should not do that because it's detrimental to the entire process of building your business. This also means that you need to embrace your competence and handle your fraudulence using, I don't know, little tactics. So if you, let's say that one of you guys comes to me and you ask a question, like the comment that was just made about it shows up when I'm trying to talk about pricing. And I was like, I don't really have a good set of words to put around that specific piece right now, but maybe we'll do another episode. What that was a deferment tactic for me to say, hey, I know I'm capable of teaching on that, but I don't have that right now. So I was just really honest with you, right? I'm capable of leading you through that. So let's do that, but it's not what we're going to do right now. And me being an imposter, or something that might make me feel like an imposter, would be that if I were to just ramble out an answer that wasn't really specific to what we were talking about, just to get something out there so that I felt like you guys thought that I was still the leader, right? That would serve my imposterism if I just rambled out an answer, versus if I just say, hey, yes, let's do that, but not right now. And you see this a lot with lawyers and doctors. So they'll say, I need to confer, or I need to go back and check. They will do that constantly because it's really important with those professions where they're charging a ton of money. It's really important that they be correct when they come back with an answer. I mean, it's important to all of us all the time, but they'll come back. They've got that kind of built into their skill set as they come out of school and start their professions, that they just constantly say that. Have you ever had, I've got a brother-in-law, actually I've got tons of cousins and brother-in-laws and whatever that are doctors. And if I were to go to him and say, to go to one of them and say, hey, I got this thing on my shoulder and I don't know what it is. And they'd be like, well, I could look at that in the office or whatever. They defer, and they do that because this is not the time for them to be doing that. So that's one way that you can combat your imposterism, is by being honest when you don't have the answer and just saying, hey, I'm going to go research that. Or, hey, I'm going to get back to you on that. Or, hey, I am not equipped to deal with that question right now. That's the example with the doctor and what I just did with Tani. I'm not equipped to deal with that specific question right now, but I know I'm capable of it. So let's circle back around to it. So that's embracing your competence and handling any kind of fraudulence with honesty, with integrity. It may be a little bit of a dodge, and that's okay. Be honest about the fact that you're dodging. That is okay. Oh, I love this. Let's read it. Oh, you just gave me an aha moment. I think my discomfort with teaching is it feels inauthentic. I may need to. Okay, beautiful. Do it. Let's do a one-on-one. All right. So number 2 tactic. It's very similar, but a little bit different. So in the beginning, I said, practice authenticity with others and yourself. And then I gave you some tactics that really have to do with what you're putting out there to the world. But you have to check in with your true self as well. So this has to do with naming what you're experiencing, naming it, and relying on your capabilities and your network. So when I say naming what you're experiencing, what I'm saying is literally saying, I am experiencing a fear of putting my price out there. And let me examine that. Let me do some journaling on that. Let me give, a number scale to the fear and to how true I think I am with my price and that kind of thing. So maybe examining it deeper, but knowing that you are experiencing imposter syndrome and that you are not an imposter. You have not lied to get where you are. An imposter lies, an imposter cheats, an imposter steals. If you are experiencing imposter syndrome because you are an imposter, then we have a different conversation to have, and let's have it. Let's have it. Let's get it out there and let's fix it. But that's not anybody in this group. You're not experiencing imposter syndrome because you are an imposter. You're experiencing an imposter syndrome because you are a well-intentioned person who is about to do something that is a little bit above their comfort zone. And so recognizing that, and when you talk to yourself in your head, saying, I am experiencing, not I am. So not internalizing that you're an imposter. And then relying on your capabilities, on the idea that you can do it. You may not have ever done it in the past, but you can do it. And also relying on your network. So you guys all bought into this program that is full of educated, professional, skilled, talented. I'm going to cry right now thinking about this group. You are in a network of amazing, amazing entrepreneurs. And you guys are all, you're in similar places in your journey. You can rely on each other in so many ways. And I think that's really important. And you've got me that you can rely on as well. It's really important to allow that to give you confidence, because part of what you purchased when you bought into the accelerator, you purchased confidence. You purchased the ability to go to others within this network and say, hey, I've got a question. I know you specialize in yoga. Can you tell me XYZ? I'm not going to go into too many examples there because we are getting pressed for time, but rely on your capabilities, rely on your network. When I say rely on your capabilities, what I'm saying is you might be selling a signature transformation. And yes, it's the first time that you've sold it, but because you know within your heart of hearts that you are going to come alongside these people and you're going to do every single thing and you are going to overcompensate until you get it right. That is relying on your capabilities. That doesn't mean that you've done it yet. It means that you're going to do it. You are capable of doing it. Okay, so then the third one, absorb and step into your accomplishments. So you may need to make a list of all the awesome things you've done in your life. So today I got an email and it was somebody asking about how my degree plays in with the things that I teach. So y'all, my degree is in studio art. It's in painting. It doesn't, but I did not let that. So the reason they were asking is that they wanted to be able to get my talks for this conference approved for CECs. And that's why they were asking. And so I went back and I said, my degree's in studio art. Artists are problem solvers. I am an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers. And I teach on entrepreneurship. That's the best way that I could tell you that those two things are connected. And I do believe that, but I had to really think about it. And then I also, listed, I have been working with people for this long. I've been an entrepreneur for this long. I've been an online marketer for this long. So I was able to kind of list out all these things and connect with like my past accomplishments. But I could have easily let that trip me up and make me feel like an imposter, right? The old me from a couple years back would have said, well, crap, maybe I need to withdraw my whole speaking gig because, I don't have a business degree. So you have to be able to absorb and step into the accomplishments that you have got in the past, right? And the last one that I've got for you is rise up and own your now station in life. And this is similar to what I said before. It's a lot of you guys are selling a signature transformation for the first time, or you are thinking about it, because a lot of us are trying to go high ticket and see how that works for us and whether or not that's a piece of our business plan. So stepping up and owning your now station in life is a piece of selling your signature transformation, right? Because you know that when you sell them into your signature transformation, that you are going to do everything in your power to help them come along and get that transformation that you have promised. So rising up and owning your now station in life, it's also, that's the courage that it took to even plop down the credit card and come into the Virtual Studio Business Accelerator. It was rising up and owning it. So you've got to, you got to just come to the place where you're allowing yourself to know that you know what you know, and that you've got capabilities that will take you the rest of the way there. Okay, y'all. So those are the 4 things that I have got for you. Let me see. A comfort zone is a nice place, but nothing grows there. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, the comfort zone should almost be like the cliff and then the skill set so that the grass can grow. Okay, y'all. So that is what I have got for you. I'm going to rush off of here today because I'm going to my daughter's follow-up appointment for her shoulder surgery. And I will see you guys on Monday. I was going to ask you guys to make a thread in the group, but I can't remember what I wanted you to put in there. But I think that having a discussion on the things that we've talked about here would be great. So if somebody wants to start that thread and maybe, I think what I wanted you to do is just lay your imposter syndrome out in the light so that we can practice authenticity with ourselves and others. Because if you can name it and you can claim it, then you can start to change it. So if you would like, go ahead and start a thread in the group and let's just talk about, here's where it shows up for me. Like Tani said, it shows up when she's trying to do her pricing. So if anybody has got anything for that, then they can go in and say, hey, this is what I've done in the past. Oh, a Zoom room is a great one too. So if you guys, Tani, if you want to start that room, if you've got time after this, you guys are all able to start rooms in the group. And so one of you can start and everybody else can jump in. If that's not the case, let me know. I'll be here for another minute or 2 and I'll go ahead and start it. But y'all, I love you. I will see you soon. I hope that was helpful to you.